Well, the day has finally come. I am staying tonight at the Circus Circus Las Vegas, often cited as the worst hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. This resort features dirt cheap rooms and lots of family friendly activities. Opened in 1968, it was featured in James Bond's Diamonds Are Forever, which is kind of crazy because now it's one of the only hotels in Las Vegas that has coin operated slot machines. Yes, the Slots of Fun Casino, which is located by covered pathway just outside of the main casino building, still has quarter machines, and that's where we're going to start our tour today. And I gotta say, it is pretty depressing in here. It's very smoky, just feels old, which is kind of the point, though they do have some throwbacks that are good, like $2 draft beers. But the Slots of Fun Casino is a nice metaphor for the rest of the Circus Circus Resort because it is like going back in a time machine in some ways. Both to a Vegas that has passed us by from the 60s and 70s, and even the 90s, where the casino resorts were really focused on family-friendly activities. The Circus Circus definitely still does that today, so we're going to check out everything there is to do here. But before we do, if you love this type of content, I travel all around the world filming my travels, doing these full tours to help you better educate yourself for your next trip. So give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel, it really helps me out. So walking into the main casino, it's actually not any different than something like the Excalibur, just a little bit lower ceilings, I would say. But overall, they have all the updated slot machines. They have the very sugary alcoholic drink stand that you find in some casinos on the Strip. So overall, it's not really all that crazily different than a lot of things that exist on the Strip already. There's a small sports bar here to the right. Now, it's been a while since I stepped in the casino, but I believe that this is where Vince Neil's bar was at one time. But above us here is actually what's called Midway Land, and this is one of the most unique things available on the Las Vegas Strip. It's actually a full Midway game section for kids geared towards families above the casino floor, and it features free circus acts every so often throughout the day. The circus acts are completely free to watch. They have bench seating for everyone to be able to watch the different acts. They have trapeze artists, they have clowns, they have jugglers. All the circus acts that you know and love are available there, so that's a completely free activity that if you have a family in town, you should definitely take advantage of. The Midway games are of course not free. You can win different prizes at those, and any of the games that do offer tickets, they have a ticket store that you can take all of your winnings over and select some prizes similar to any other arcade. It's a pretty expansive arcade though, and some of the Midway games are pretty cool and customized just for the Circus Circus, so it's definitely worth checking out as someone who loves themed entertainment and theme parks. It was kind of cool just to step back and see how much focus they've placed on these Midway games. It's definitely an upscale feel compared to most of the carnivals that roll through town. Is it a little weird that it's above a casino floor? Absolutely. But it does exist, and you should definitely go check this out because it is one of those things that you probably can only find in Las Vegas. I was really curious when I checked in if this place was going to be busy at all, especially the Midway, and I found it to be really, really busy. They had a really cool section, which was the old carousel bar right here. They're not just selling candy in there, but this used to actually rotate. I believe they feature that in Diamonds Are Forever as well. So a cool piece of history for movie buffs here. James Bond walked through here, so if it was good enough for him, why are you snubbing your nose at the Circus Circus? Now, when I was walking through, it was actually a clown act that was due next on stage. And I will say he was pretty good. I did appreciate that he didn't have the traditional clown makeup. I feel like that's a big part of why people are creeped out by this place, is the giant clown out front on the sign that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So it's pretty cool that they have all of these acts going on here, and they really got the crowd engaged. People are really enjoying it. So it's really cool. It's about every 30 minutes throughout the day. It starts at certain times, so you can check on their website for the specific schedule when you're in town. You may want to time it for what you want to see, like trapeze artists or something like that. What also surprised me was that was basically the whole casino floor. It's not small by any means, but it's definitely not gigantic like modern Las Vegas standards. And then in between the casino floor and where I went to check in for my hotel stay, there were a bunch of different restaurants and weird shops. So we're going to walk through that right now. You can see how low these ceilings are. I'm about 6 feet tall, and it just felt very close to my head. Very, very funny. You're not going to find a lot of high-end dining here. There's going to be a lot of chain restaurants like Del Taco right off of the casino floor. And then you're going to have a tattoo shop as you walk on by. There is one mainstay here at Circus Circus, and that is literally called The Steakhouse. And it's been around since the 1980s. and it's apparently pretty good. So if you are looking for a good meal here, I would probably focus on the steakhouse. There's a wedding chapel upstairs, and I followed the elevator there after I got my room key and went and checked out the fitness center. I was infinitely curious to see what this thing looked like. You can see this incredibly creepy hallway that you have to walk down to find it, and it's very clearly just converted hotel rooms that they meshed together and put what is basically the size of like Hyatt Place's gym in here. It's not amazing looking by any means, but it is a gym. If you're looking for the best gym in Las Vegas, I recommend watching my Fontainebleau video that just dropped on the channel. They have an incredible gym. But that's not why you're staying here at the Circus Circus. You were attracted by the very cheap room rate, or maybe your kid was really interested in the roller coaster out back. We'll show you that in just a bit. There is a small rest of the casino floor here in the middle, and then across the way is the buffet. So they do still have a operating buffet here at the Circus Circus. These have largely gone away on the Strip. Only some of the highest end hotels like the Bellagio and the Wynn still operate it. Most of the resorts have turned these areas into food halls that have different stands with, some more varied food options, but obviously all a la carte. The days of the all-you-can-eat buffet in Vegas are largely over, I would say. But you can see that the Circus Circus did embrace the food hall concept. They call it a food court on most of the signs, but they call it a food hall as soon as you arrive. You can see the big sign for food. Very descriptive. And you walk in here, and it's basically a food court with Popeye's chicken and Einstein Brothers bagels, pickup sticks, a lot of different restaurants that you'd find in your local mall. But it's all nice and bright in here. I can't say the same thing for the rest of the casino floor, so not a bad spot to grab a quick bite to eat if you're starving. And it's going to be reasonably priced. There's also Krispy Kreme donuts as we walk into the back part of the resort here. Now we're going to head up these escalators onto what's called the Promenade. And the Promenade is going to be where the Adventure Dome is. The Adventure Dome is one of the most unique aspects of Las Vegas. It was at one time one of the largest indoor theme parks in the entire world. There's a small mall with different shops and Starbucks and things like that, experiences that you can do leading up to it. They also have a brand new attraction, which is a SpongeBob dark ride built by Sally Rides, which if you're a fan of the theme park industry, they build really high quality off the shelf rides. I had a chance to ride it on this trip. I couldn't film on it, unfortunately, but it was kind of a shoot 'em up style game and was really a lot of fun, though a little expensive. It was about $14 for the ride. If you'd like to ride, you just have to buy a ticket from one of the kiosks and slide it just like you would at like a Dave & Buster's at the entrance, and the employee will let you into the small queue. It's all very well themed. They have a cool animatronic outside of Mr. Krabs as like a barker, like just at a carnival. All fits the theme here at Circus Circus, so a very well themed experience, and I give them huge kudos for that. The story of the ride is really cute. I think it's well worth doing, especially if you have kids in tow or if you're a fan of SpongeBob like I was growing up in the 90s. And this won't surprise you at all in the least. It ends in a gift shop. So you can buy all of your SpongeBob merchandise here in Las Vegas. No need to fly over to Orlando or anywhere else where there are experiences. Now, the Adventure Dome is a separately ticketed option, so you can walk in for free. But if you want to ride any of the rides, they sell a wristband for you, and you can ride all the rides you'd like throughout the day. There are 2 roller coasters. There's a number of different flat rides here. It's all a very unique experience, I think. The Canyon Blaster roller coaster has been around since the park opened in the 90s. It was built by Aerodynamics and features 4 inversions, so it's definitely worth riding if you're a roller coaster history buff. It was the most intense indoor roller coaster when it was built. It's now been surpassed by many rides around the world, especially in the Middle East, but very, very fun experience to do, and the whole theming of the place around the Grand Canyon is pretty awesome as well. In all, there are about 25 attractions here at Adventure Dome. They have 1 attraction outdoors, which is a small little go-kart track for the little kids. They have a 4D theater, looping our way around the backside of the mountain, a few more arcade games and flat rides here. And at the backside of the park is going to be El Loco. This took the place of the Flume ride. It squeezes in a ton of different elements into a very tight layout. If you have back issues or if you're motion sick at all, I would recommend skipping this one, but if you're into thrills, definitely check it out. I was surprised they had even more Midway games back here. They were themed to the Western theme of this area, which is pretty cool. My thoughts were that they themed this in the 90s because people were actually headed off the strip to go visit the Grand Canyon, and they thought, hey, if we theme something to the Grand Canyon, why would they go? So maybe it worked out in the 90s. I think now people still want to see the real thing. There's a food court here with an icy station, and that loops you all the way back to the front of the park. So a pretty big theme park and a fun diversion for your time here in Las Vegas. But the fun does not end here at the Circus Circus. Yes, they do have a pool and an RV park that we're going to now check out. So to get there, you have to walk pretty far back in this resort complex. There's a closed moving walkway that used to help you get here. There was even a tram that they had that closed in, I think, 2000 that brought you back over here. But you get a first view of the pool area. I was here in February, so this area was not open, but it's a pretty impressive water slide, actually. And I only paid $29 plus the resort fee for my room. So for a family of four, you can have a lot of fun here for a low price. This is all included in your resort stay. Obviously, it looks a little desolate now, but there's a small water play area for the kids. And it's located right here next to one of the hotel towers, all the way in the back of the property. So it does take a little bit of time to get here, but they do offer towels to you. And they did have one pool open, so you have to walk through the gates here and over to the right. And it was a basically normal looking pool, nothing too special, no water slides or anything like that. But they did have a pool open, which not every resort I visited on this trip actually did. So kudos to the Circus Circus for having a pool open in winter. Now, it does feel pretty deserted back here, and it's not just because the pools are closed for the most part. The Manor is one section of this resort that is absolutely creepy. It's basically a motor lodge. I was curious if I was going to end up being assigned a room there, but it turns out I didn't. But right next to that is going to be the Circus Circus RV Park. It was pretty locked down, so I didn't wander in there, but they have their own pool as well. So you can actually stay in your RV here on the Las Vegas Strip. But back downstairs below the promenade level is going to be the main check-in area for the Circus Circus. They were very strict on check-in. They really didn't have a lot of check-in agents to help you. It's all based on time and all by kiosk. You get charged if you check in any time before 30 minutes before the official check-in time, which was 3 o'clock. So right at 2:30, I got in line and checked in. The kiosk was really easy to use, and they spit out my key almost immediately. So all of that was very smooth. Just know that there's no checking in early here without an extra charge. And this is similar to what a lot of the Caesars properties are doing, just to try and make a few extra dollars. I was assigned a room in the Skyrise Tower, nice and dark hallways leading up to the room. And walking inside, it's not really all that bad, I would say. Just very, very dated. Do have granite showers, but a lot of those old wood feeling doors. This room has definitely not been renovated in many years, decades perhaps. It's basically what you'd expect from like a Super 8 motel, which for the price is not terrible. All I hope for is a very clean room experience, and didn't really detect anything that was necessarily out of place. You do have the wall unit AC units there, a small desk for doing some work, and a flat screen, a small one, but it was a flat screen, so they have upgraded those at least since the new millennia. And then here's a view of the Adventure Dome from my room. But that caps off my tour of the Circus Circus and my stay here. Overall, not terrible.